A lot of rain this spring and the early part of the summer in the Cleveland area. You know, today seems more like an October day than a June day, but I think with these two teams, they're going to really heat things up here at Jacobs Field.
And when you look at it, we had a chance to catch up with the coaches about the views of their team prior to today's game. When you look at the John Marshall key players, they bring a lot to the table.
Oh, absolutely. You look at Theo Hudson. He's a solid player, defensive-minded first baseman, and he is the perfect leadoff hitter for this John Marshall crew. And then behind the plate, Eddie Blake, another key hitter. He needs to drive in some big runs. He's a big RBI hitter for the Lawyers of John Marshall. And then we heard the
number 6, the catcher, a junior, Eddie Blake.
Getting it up here so that we can take on the first pitch. Again, Cynthia Metzger, the principal of John Marshall. Fires up. Hey, good arm. Good arm.
Hopefully that will be a sign of things to come for the Lawyers of John Marshall as they're looking to capture a second straight title. Tim, we were talking...
A lot of speed in center. Matt Garou, as well as Eric Tom and John Susko. But I believe one of the outstanding players that has had a great season all year has been Eddie Blake, their catcher. He stepped in when he was an infielder, came in to catch when Dan Manhoen went down with the injury.
Count. Jerko. He'll look to try to push over Torres, who's over at first base, not taking much of a lead. That one down in the dirt for a ball. Key for John Marshall as well will be the catching of Eddie Blake and keeping the ball in front of him.
And after watching him a couple games during the season and in the playoffs, Adam, he does a real good job of blocking the ball. He's got a quick release and a strong arm. So he's done a nice job for him back there. Now the way the Marshall defense is playing, they're way back, so it's going to be a real chore. They're going to have to put some hits together.
1-1 count. That one in the dirt once again, and look for 5 pitches. 2 balls, 1 strike on Harmon. In the cleanup position will be Eddie Blake, the catcher, hitting .426. Out of a jam with the strikeout to LeBoy.
Number 6, Eddie Blake.
Pitch on the outside part of the plate. Good location, good target from the catcher for the strikeout. And that brings up Eddie Blake, the catcher, hitting .426, the junior captain of this John Marshall team. 24 RBIs on the year. Brings the first one in for a strike, or make that a ball. First year working as a catcher this year.
See, they also selected him as captain of the team. And against a pretty good Lakewood team this year, he had 4 RBIs, home run, 2 for 4.
Hoping for that same kind of performance today here at Jacobs Field. 2-0 count on Eddie Blake. This one is fouled into the stands on the first base side.
You bring your fishing net, Adam?
No, not this year. I feel like I need more of a winter coat. Granted, we're in the beginning of June, and temperatures are in the mid-50s. And usually, probably by the end of May, you never break out the turtleneck. Today, I broke it out for June. That one right off the foot of Eddie Blake. And a foul ball. That brings the count to 2-2. Do you remember? We've done a number of these city championship games. This has got to be the coldest.
You're absolutely right. I do not remember it being this cold in June. You know, I think we've had the late spring. I hope the rain stops.
We've had enough of it, that's for sure. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. That one's up top and high. It'll bring a full count to 3-2 for Brandon Euchre, who's really thrown a lot of pitches in this first inning of play. 3-2 count, 2 outs, runner over at second base. That's Theo Hudson. See him at the bottom of your screen getting a good lead. And that one just missing again. His second walk in the inning, and that puts runners at first and second. Coming up to the plate is Pat Millay, the shortstop, hitting .206 on the season. Tries it, goes for the bump position. The ball went behind him.
Right between the hole.
The catcher.
And again, Carlos LeBoy.
Eddie Blake.
And that will bring up Eddie Blake, the catcher, who walked his first time up. So runners at first and second, and that time a strike there by Brandon Euchre, who comes back and fires a strike. John Susko at second. Carlos Laboy with the big 2 RBI single at first. That one just missing on the outside part of the plate. Runs the count to 1-1. Well, we talked about it in the first inning. Euchre throwing a lot of pitches. Once again, in the second inning, a number of pitches. That pitch count going to go very high today. Missing on the outside part and low. 2 balls, 1 strike.
You know, as a coach and a pitcher, you always ask them, just be consistent, and that'll help you. You know, and he has. Brennan has not called that, and you can see he's missing on the outside. He's crossing his body with his arm.
And this is where the catcher's going to have to say, hey, look, hit my target. Let's make the defense stop, let's use our defense. It's not just going to be me and you behind the plate, pitcher and catcher. Fouls that one directly behind. Runs the count to 3-2. Runners at second and first. There you see Eddie Blake, the catcher, hitting .426 on the season.
24 RBIs. Big hitter here.
Marshall with 1 run in the first, 2 here in the second. That one up top, and that'll load the bases once again. So Eddie Blake walks for a second straight time. 5th walk in the inning. So Eugene Jerkel getting roughed up in this 3rd inning. He delivers. Breaking ball on the outside part of the plate in the dirt for a ball. And so right now, the bags are full with Theo Hudson at third, Susko or Peters at second, and Laboy at first. That brings up the catcher, Eddie Blake, who's walked twice in this game.
Now, when you talk about Carlos Laboy, even in the greater Cleveland area, the Coaches Association have selected him as an all-star in the greater Cleveland area. So, I mean, if I'm sitting out there and I'm a college coach, I'm going to be trying to go after this guy because, number one, not just because of ability, but also in the classroom, a merit role student. So academically, he has his act together as well.
That one missing on the outside part of the plate. The captain, Eddie Blake, up to the plate. First-year catcher. We're talking about Laboy being a merit roll student. Here, Blake, an honor roll student at John Marshall. 3-0 the count as Giovanni Torres has the bases loaded. He fires, gets him on the breaking ball for a strike. Runs the count to 3-1.
You believe in that theory, Adam? Sometimes 3-0, that strike zone gets a little bit bigger.
Yeah. As a catcher, you want to hope that it gets bigger. So they'll at least give you 1.
I think if Tim Hogan had his way today, he'd say there's no walks. You got to hit to get on, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of walks in this game. That one fired down foul on the first base side. A lot of walks in this ball game for John Marshall. 8 walks.
Oh.
Marshall has been patient, waiting for good pitches, but for Rhodes, combined 8 walks in the game. Three to the count to Eddie Blake from Giovanni Torres. The runners go, and they're going to continue as Hudson will score after the walk with the bases loaded. So the runners advance on the walk. Derek Thompson scores all the way from second base.
Well, you'll see this here. You always talk about 2 hands. He catches it in the heel of the glove. And again, I don't think he hurt everybody. So he goes over there to take it. And right now, I'm sure Ollie Kaufman's already talked to him, the first base umpire. Take it off, kid.
That makes it now 12-4 as Eddie Blake comes up to the plate. Has walked 3 times in this ball game. Runner at first. Torres delivers. That one gets away, and off he goes. The boy will be over at second base.
Now, one of the things I mentioned in beginning of the game, Adam, I said the battery between Rhodes, Euchre, and Cruz. Cruz being a freshman. We're seeing now, as this game progresses, Cruz doing a lot of reaching. He's not stepping and blocking. You know, it comes back to that catcher's work ethic. You got to work hard every inning. Your pitcher's trying to get us out of here, and you let the ball get by. You can't do that. You got to do the quarterback.
Absolutely. Count goes now to 2-1. 2 outs here. Bottom of the 4th inning. Torres gets him swinging on a breaking ball. Trying to get out of this inning. 4 runs scored in the inning by John Marshall. Torres looks back the runner at second base, fires inside, and just missing. Torres looking at the sign. He delivers. This one is lined in the gap in right center field. This is going to be extra bases as 1 run will score. Blake heads over to second base. He's going to try for third. He puts the brakes on and heads quickly back to second. RBI double for Eddie Blake, the catcher, hitting .426.
Well, you look at it right here, and he went with it. And we talked about hitting the gap. Well, right here we were talking about Rhodes having a tough time getting them in there. But John Marshall
needs that out right now with 2 outs right now. Get his team back in the bench. This one hit up the middle, base hit. Center fielder Macau gets it. He's going to throw home. The play at the plate, not in time as Juan Cruz was not able to handle the throw. So Mahone gets a RBI single, advances the second on the throw. Pitch right down the gut, and he hit one right back up the middle.
Now you look at here. Here's a good throw by Mike Macau. But Cruz, to see where Cruz was, he was behind the plate.